Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey and I have this channel to vlog about my life as a full-time online teacher and to also serve other online teachers as well. So please make sure it is not the last time that you see me by hitting that red subscription button and the bell down below to be notified of new videos every week on my channel. And to also get this video a thumbs up, it helps support me and this channel. And what I'm going to be talking about today is some questions that were given to me by one of my really closest friends that is experiencing online teaching for the first time. And specifically, they have decided to go on the Outschool route, and they're a little bit on the fence about Allschool as well, which is understandably so because it is a new online teaching platform after all. There are still a lot of questions that I'm sure a lot of you have the same similar questions on, but they proceeded to give me a whole list of questions, and I decided I'm going to try to answer those questions in this video here. And these are probably questions that you have been wondering about as well. And stay till the end because I'm going to share with you about summer camps. All right, so stay till the end on that. First question that my friend has asked is, how long does it take for students to enroll in your classes? So this is a first-time online teacher that is trying to experiment how online teaching is like, and how long is it going to be before she will start seeing consistent students in her classes? And the thing is, I cannot give you a concrete answer as to how long that might take because it can vary depending on the person. What I have noticed, generally speaking, is that for most people, it does take time to build rapport with families and to have more students consistently come into your classes as you have had more experience with teaching online, and your reviews coming in, they should mostly be 4 to 5 star ratings. And usually when those things start to roll in, more families are going to start seeing what you have to offer. But the best piece of advice that I have heard from veteran teachers that have been doing this even longer than me is that try to teach, your one-time classes or your classes that would already had, learners in the class as much as possible. And think of it this way. If you are teaching a really popular subject, by the time I'm filming this, Encanto is a really popular subject. I've seen a lot of Encanto dance classes, Encanto cooking classes, Encanto drawing classes, like you name it. And Encanto is everywhere. And let's say you kind of like the trend too. So you want to try to do your own research and see, when are these classes available for families? And if there is a certain time that you can teach, but other teachers are not teaching during that time, let's say you want to offer an Encanto dance class, and this popular teacher that's been teaching another Encanto dance class teaches it at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, whether it's Eastern, Pacific, whatever. Let's say she doesn't have, or he doesn't have a section at 3 o'clock, but you are available to teach at 3. That could be one of those times where you can experiment and say, maybe I can offer a class at 3 o'clock. Maybe I'll have some more learners sign up for 3 o'clock. So usually going and trying different times that other teachers would not be teaching is your best bet to try to get more enrollments. Of course, if you have one-time classes, you want to try to make sure that you have something either like a camp or something ongoing that you can funnel families in after they take the one-time class from you. And you'll see when you are editing like your class or you're creating your class that it'll have the option on the bottom, like what class do you recommend next? And if you do have an ongoing class, you can make that suggestion to families. However, if you don't have that yet because you're brand new, you know, I would consider trying to make a club or try to make some class that continues on, because ongoing is going to be your consistent pay that you're going to get every week, anytime that you're meeting with your ongoing club. So I recommend that if you are able to do an ongoing club or a class, you know, whatever the situation is. So just know that everyone's path is going to be a little different. Some people get their enrollments really fast, and some others, it just takes time. And so you just have to really put in the effort to try to experiment with days and times that you feel are best with your schedule and that somehow fits with a lot of people and a lot of families on Outschool too. Which then leads into another question related to the first question, which is, have you had more success with morning or evening classes? Again, this can vary depending on what kind of teacher you are. So some teachers, I've heard, they have a lot more success teaching in the mornings, and then they have the afternoons off. And then I've heard of other teachers that the evening for them or the afternoon works so much better for them, especially if you're in the Eastern time zone. A lot of us in the Eastern time zone are probably going to end up teaching a little later because there's so many families on the Pacific time zone looking for Outschool classes. So a lot of us tend to have like evening classes, but again, it just depends on which families find you, and if you do offer availability on both morning and afternoons, if you're able to, of course. I realize not everyone's going to be able to do it full time like me, so maybe you can only do this part-time, or you can only do it for a certain amount of days. You know, whatever your reason is, it fits to your schedule. That's the best thing about it, is that if you're only able to teach 2 times a week, you work your schedule around that. So, but if you are able to experiment with 2 sections in the morning and then 2 sections in the afternoon, and maybe an evening, like a later evening class, see which section, the same section, has more enrollments. If you realize that you see more enrollments in the morning, stay with the morning. If you see more enrollments in the afternoon, think about tailoring your schedule to where you're teaching in the afternoons instead. Again, this is going to vary. I've heard both sides. I've heard of teachers who only work in the morning and they have more enrollments then. And I've heard of other teachers that only teach in the afternoon because they have all the kids out in California in the Pacific time zones coming and signing in for their classes. You're going to have to experiment for yourself on that. Number 3, how often do you get paid? Now, Outschool, there are different ways that you get paid. So if you teach a one-time class, you normally get paid 7 days after teaching the class. So let's say you taught on a Friday. Okay, you taught a class on a Friday. That next Friday in the week, that's when you're going to get that payment for that class. Now, it also is the same for multi-day and flex classes. So usually you get those payments, even though the multi-day and the flex could last 4 to 8 weeks or 12. if you're doing semester-long classes, you get all of that money the week after those classes started. So if it's the 12 weeks worth of money, you get it all then. So just be careful in case in the middle of those classes, you get a family that's like, this is not what we're looking for. We need a refund. You would have to refund that family all that money. So just be mindful of that if you're doing classes that last for like 3, 4, 6, 8, even 12 weeks. Now, ongoing for Outschool is a little different. So it's usually paid like every other week. So what I mean by that is if you have an ongoing club and it starts on Monday, so that money usually comes in on Sunday, but not the next Sunday. It would be the following Sunday, if that makes sense. So it's usually almost about 2 weeks out after, but that payment for ongoing classes comes in on Sundays. Now for Allschool, it doesn't matter if you have a one-time or a multi-day or an ongoing. Those are the only 3 options you have for Allschool so far. It doesn't matter if you offer one of those. The payment, your money from whichever classes you teach, it's a similar principle to ongoing for Outschool. So if you taught a one-time class on Monday or camp or ongoing, that money for that class, it's not going to come in next week, but the week after next. And what I've been realizing is it'll be a direct deposit into your bank, your personal bank. And because it is overseas, I usually get that money hitting my bank around Tuesday or Wednesday. And that's for the whole week. So even if you taught Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all that money for those days that you taught is going to come in on I can't believe I'm using my hands. It's going to come in on that following week, either on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on your bank. Question number 4. Does the price that you set seem to matter more than your ratings? So I think I know where my friend is coming from on this, because it seems to be, like, do you have more enrollments if you offer your classes cheaper? And let's say you have less than 5-star ratings on Outschool. Does that affect parents' decisions on whether they want to take your class or not? And I think it just depends on the parent. I don't think, some families, they do look for classes that are more effective for their budget, but then there are other families that they really want to put, how knowledgeable is the teacher and reliable and all this stuff. So, but a lot of times parents will give out like 3 or 4-star reviews, but leave like positive reviews, if that makes sense. So I also want to point out that if you do get 4 out of 5 stars, it's not bad. It's still pretty good. I know it's not perfect, like 5 out of 5 stars. I understand that, but just realize 4 out of 5 stars is still okay. And if the parents are willing to give you some constructive criticism to try to be better for the next classes, just make sure to take that to heart. And a lot of times, speaking of reviews, if there is ever a time that you do have like 3 or less stars for review and the parent complaining, a lot of times how you leave a public review on your profile will also determine to parents, what kind of teacher you might be. And parents should also be reading expectations of your classes. So again, I feel like it just sort of depends on the parent, you know. And I've said in a lot of videos, I don't think you should offer your classes discounted or free, unless you're trying to do a special deal where maybe you're doing like a friends and family discount, so that way they can share your classes with people they know and then they pay you in return kind of deal. Or, you know, but you know, you want to place value and worth in what you have to offer. And if you offer anything less, then parents are going to start expecting that from you. And you know how I feel about that. And I just think, you know, you should offer your prices fairly. And a lot of times, if it could be any number for a price, and there are families out there that are going to say, yeah, this is worth it because this teacher knows what they're talking about and they are very knowledgeable and I can rely on them and they have taught my children well in the past, or, you know, whatever the reason is. There are parents out there that it doesn't matter the price tag. They're still going to sign their kids up for the class regardless. So I wouldn't let ratings affect you too much. They still are important in terms of growing as a teacher in general. So you always want to strive for your best. And then if there is a problem arising, you want to try your best to fix it as soon as you can as well. So just don't cheapen your classes just so you can get more enrollments. Like, the parents will come when they see what you have to offer is of worth. Number 5, what are the main differences between Allschool and Outschool aside from the percentage they take? So we know Allschool kind of has like a better percentage takeaway than Outschool, which is what makes Allschool really appealing right now. However, there are some people out there that are like, I've never heard of Allschool before. I'm not really sure if I should take the leap of faith. Like, not even really sure this is legit. So I know big key differences is that for Allschool, when you upload your lessons on ClassPod, you can choose whether you want your learners to like draw or interact on the screen. And you can do that like directly on the slides. Whereas like on Zoom, if you want your learners to like draw, you either have to like screen share or you have to put up the whiteboard, and then that gives access to everyone to draw on the board. Whereas for Allschool, you can choose individual learners to draw or to drag or, you know, whatever it is for your lessons. I feel like that's the biggest takeaway because I want to try to make my lessons as interactive as possible. So the fact that there's a feature where I can choose one learner to draw a line or to draw a picture and no other learners get in their way is actually really, really, really nice. And I think ClassPod is only going to get better with time, honestly, because Zoom's cool. Don't get me wrong on Zoom. I just know Zoom is still very, very limited in terms of trying to be more interactive with your learners on the screen. So I feel like ClassPod is trying to be more interactive and immersive as possible, which is why there's also a big push to upload your lessons on Allschool or on a ClassPod instead of using Zoom on the Allschool platform. Another big difference is that the Allschool market is not going to be as saturated as Outschool. Now, yes, I know Outschool is our most reliable online teaching platform because it's been around for a while now. So it's the one online teaching platform that many of us know about and even teach on and have been teaching on for a really long time. So it's like, well, we know so many people who took classes on Outschool, so we must be going to Outschool. And, you know, and realizing that there are so many teachers on the Outschool platform that sometimes, you know, I feel so bad for teachers who want to be Outschool teachers, and then they realize, like, I've been on Outschool for a year and nobody has signed up for my classes. Like, I think I got buried amongst all the other teachers on here. Like, maybe this is just not for me. So if you're worried about oversaturation, then Allschool is going to be your better bet, because even though there's not going to be as many learners, if you go on the Allschool platform now, you have better chances of more learners taking your classes. And you're going to have a bigger reach too, especially if you're willing to teach like really early in the morning for some ESL students as well. So that's how I'm able to get my enrollments, is to be available pretty early in the morning to teach on there. And finally, the last question is, what are the differences between spring, summer, and fall as far as enrollments? So here's the thing. As I'm filming this, right, it is spring, and we are all getting ready for summer camps. Now, I'm already going to say this now. Summer camps are going to be your best bet in terms of your most enrollments and even your most income earned. I could not tell you how many of my online teacher colleagues have told me that their summer months, so June, July, and August, they have earned up to $40,000 just for teaching summer camps. So, and that's not to say that you should just only teach summer camps. What I am saying is, if you're watching this and you're a brick and mortar teacher and you're thinking about leaving the classroom, or just saying, hey, I need a summer job and I don't want to work at Starbucks or McDonald's or anywhere like that that pays minimum wage and treats their employees like crap. I want to do something fun and creative. Teaching on Outschool or Allschool and offering summer camps is your best bet, because kids are out of school for summer. Some kids still, even though we're still kind of in a panini, kind of not really sure where we stand on that, but some kids cannot just go away to a spend-a-night camp, or, you know, they can't go on elaborate vacations. So families say, hey, why don't we try a camp online? Try to do something fun so that you're not watching TikToks and playing on your iPad all day. So there's that as well. So they rely on online teaching platforms to give them their camp experience. So that's why, if you have not done your summer camps yet and put them on the calendar, and you got to put in 3 or more sections, especially for Outschool, so that way they can advertise your camps properly to other families. So that's a pro tip for you about your summer camps. Make sure you have more than 3 sections available for the summer so that families can see that you are available to teach for summer camp. Anywho, I also think that if you have not done a summer camp before and you're like, I don't know what I should do for a summer camp, think back to some of your first one-time classes that you have had a lot of learners on, or have had a lot of good reviews on, or success in, that you feel really, really confident in. Think about considering making your popular one-time class into a camp and turning it into like a 2, 3, or 4-day camp, and seeing if that's going to inspire people to come and take your camp for over the summer. So, And yes, June and July are good months, but I've also been hearing that a lot of online teachers earn the most money in August. But I will say, once September hits is when all the kids start going back to school. So enrollments may not be so great. So that's why a lot of teachers rely on the summer to get the most income. So then by the time September and October rolls around, you know, they're not worried too much about their income, if that makes sense. So, but also, if you're thinking about being a full-time online teacher, starting over the summer is a great opportunity to, yes, get more learners to come see you and see what you have to offer, but to also funnel them into other classes that you have when they do go back to school in the fall and the winter seasons. So this is an opportunity, especially if you want to try to do a full-time online business, funnel them in from your summer camps and try to encourage them to join you in the fall for ongoing classes. So if you do have any other questions for me that I did not go over in this video, please leave a comment down below and I will do another video. And maybe I should make this a series where everyone just sends me a bunch of questions that they're curious about and I just answer it in one video. Or at least most of the questions, because that would be a really long video if I answered all of your questions. But yes, if you do have a question, leave it down below and make sure to check out my links to help support me in this channel, because your support means everything to me and I would not be able to continue making these videos without your support. So thanks for watching and I will see you next time.